couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, the Gallatin School went through its 40th anniversary. And at that time, I started thinking about our legacy, who we were, what we wanted our future to be. And we started out as a school called University Without Walls. And I thought, we need to think more about revitalizing our civic engagement programs. And my favorite part of our civic engagement programs at that time was the course that Piper teaches called Lyrics on Lockdown. I felt that it was something that just spoke exactly to what we wanted our students to be doing. And I thought, well, more of that is really where we want to start in thinking about our new our future identity. At the same time, I had the opportunity to read and learn more. I should have known this. I didn't know as much as I should have about what the circumstances of mass incarceration in the United States had become by 2010. And I started to be, I think as most people are, quite shocked as they first encounter the realities. And some of you probably know the word hyper-incarceration, which is a word that gets used. It's not just saying that lots of people are put in prison, but people from very specific groups are put in prison, that it's not just like a random sample, like a census across the nation of we're just imprisoning lots of criminals. It's a very, very specific group. And as Nikhil said, a huge percentage come from 3 or 4 congressional districts of New York City. So anyway, we began to be very interested in this. And I guess I want to say that for me, one of the most important, and I hope those of you who are faculty in the room will think about teaching in the program. Those of you who are students will think about ways that you might be able to be involved. That's definitely one of our key goals. One of the things that we had hoped for initially, we still haven't really achieved, though I think we are probably at the moment when we might be able to, is to find more ways to link this to our students at Washington Square. Part of the vision was that there is a two-way street of education. It's not just that we bring the resources of NYU to what turn out to be extremely motivated, gifted students, but also that they will bring their experiences and knowledge to our students, and that will be an educational process. It hasn't happened yet. Piper may talk about this later, but she's trained in a kind of program called Inside Out Education that does more of this. Our first encounters with the prison bureaucracy were, shall we say, frustrating. And they now have accepted us, found a place for us, we've built a wonderful program, and we have a track record. I think maybe we have some options that we didn't have when we were first starting. But initially they were like, no, we do not want that. We do not want your students in our prison. We don't want any of these things. So that question of how to have the two-way street is something I still see as a work in progress that we want to think about. Of course, we have courses that are offered as classes at NYU at the Square that students can take in these issues, which is important, but I think it's not the whole story. I just want to say a couple of things about what some of the things that we discovered in thinking about this and what my ambition and hopes are, and then really pass it on to the people that know more than I do. Although I hope you do take a look at the numbers here. It's really been an extraordinary thing that we've been able to spring this program into action at the speed that we have. And that's definitely owing in part to Andrew, Piper, the steering committee, Nikhil, and Rachel, and Breon Bain, who was a great figure, very actively involved with us until he unfortunately left to take up a position at UCLA and start a new prison program out there. One of the things that might not be immediately in your minds, if many of you are NYU students or faculty, is that, as Nikhil alluded to, these students are NYU students. They have NYU ID numbers. They are part of our community. They have been accepted by an admissions standard and admitted to NYU, and they are actually current NYU students, and they are will receive, if they finish their degree while they're in prison, an NYU degree. So one of the things that we were interested in is making sure that as our students leave prison and finish their sentences, that we have a very, very strong component of support for the next steps. And for not everybody is the next step going to be more education, but probably a lot of people it is going to be the next step. So finding ways that they can locate themselves in the proper educational establishment, which includes creating special relationships to schools all over New York, we have what are called transferable credits. What that means is that we do not say that you can only take our courses, but you can also take however many you're able to take, and then they will be valued and respected and credited by these other institutions. So this is a very, very important thing. And so we're still in the midst of creating what we hope will be a very sustained program involving support for people as they finish and come out. But one of the things that is still a work in progress and a goal of mine, and something that I am optimistic we will succeed at, but it's definitely a challenge, is creating scholarships for students when they come out, so that you're not only looking at what I think is going to be a very exciting degree in the prison, but you're also being supported to finish your education when you come out. So if you happen to finish your whole degree while you're there, and then you haven't, it's not a BA, though I don't know, are we moving to a BA? That's the next step, I suppose. But you know, if you haven't, you need some kind of support to enable education when you come out. Otherwise, it's really not as great as we want it to be. But we not only want to raise scholarship money, we actually want to raise scholarship money to come to NYU. So it's not just that we could get them to go to CUNY or the Borough of Manhattan Community College, which has been a fantastic partner for us, really awesome. But we want to be able to have them be transfer students from the NYU branch at Wallkill to the programs on the square. And that involves a lot of resources, but that's one of my personal goals, is to find a way. So we thought that, you know, NYU always says that they have a lot of, I shouldn't say that, we do have serious goals of increasing the diversity of our students. This is a serious goal, and many faculty in my school work very hard on it. But one great advantage of allowing our students to transfer into NYU will be indeed to improve the diversity of our student body. And so I'm hopeful that Gallatin will be able to be a host for some of our students as we move along. I just want to say one other thing that is important. There are a lot of people out there doing prison education. Some of you may know that BARD has been running a wonderful program, the Hudson Link program. There are lots of great people. But one of the things that we tried to do in shaping our program was to think about NYU and to think about how to link a liberal arts AA, that's the first 2 years of college, with some access to the professional schools that are part of what makes us an unusual and kind of weird university. So having the people in the Steinhardt School who do drama therapy be available to teach courses in a field that we think will have a lot of interest for students, having the social work school be interested in being involved in teaching their undergraduate courses, we want to give some access to a broader vision of what education is, so that, yes, you do need to think about the core liberal arts subjects, and we see the arts as a very, very important part of that. But you also get some touch of areas that you might think about going on and having your career in. Although we don't have a formal member of Tisch on the steering committee, Steinhardt and Social Work are the two other very active schools. They are very interested. There are a lot of people at Tisch that are interested, and I think that it's probably soon going to be the case that they will be interested and be ready to be offering some courses in the arts, and other schools at NYU as well. So that was sort of the vision. It's a little unusual because basically there are two kinds of degrees out there. One of them are highly technical AA degrees in like magnetic imaging or something. And the other ones are these very, very, very generalized liberal arts degrees, but don't have any degree of the professional. So we're hoping that this mix will really work for our students to help them begin to think about their own futures and where they're going to go.